Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I really never thought I'd be talking about this game again. Well, since it's almost my 10-year anniversary of reviewing video games, and because this review is in desperate need of a remake, let's take another look at Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. For this review, I'll be playing it on the PS4, but I will be making side-by-side comparisons between the PS4 and the PS3 versions. This game was published by Activision and developed by what I consider the worst Call of Duty developer, Sledgehammer Games. They only made 3 games in the franchise, and only one of them is halfway decent in my opinion. Now in this game there's 4 modes to choose from: campaign, multiplayer, survival, and zombies. Let's start off by talking about the campaign. You play as Private Mitchell, a Marine soldier who was sent to South Korea in the year 1954 because it's been invaded by North Korea. After being dropped off in South Korea like you're part of a human care package,
Friendly care package inbound.
you crash land into a building and you have to make your way onto the streets. You fight off the North Koreans until your best friend Will Irons gets himself killed while attempting to sabotage a mobile launcher. Later at his funeral, you find out that Will's dad, Jonathan Irons, is the owner of a company called Atlas, which is the single largest standing military in the world. He offers you a chance to join Atlas, and of course you agree to it, and the story goes from there. The story is a little predictable though. I was in the middle of playing the second mission, and I already had an idea of who the bad guy was. Then a few missions later, I was like, oh boy, I wonder who the bad guy is. I sure hope it's not Kevin Spacey. I f***ing knew it. Most of the characters are likable at best, and the voice acting is pretty solid. Besides the ones that I just mentioned, there's Gideon, who is Mitchell's trainer at Atlas, Cormac, who is a US Marine sergeant, at least in the beginning of the game, Joker, who is an Atlas mercenary,
What have we got here? A f***ing comedian, Private Joker.
and finally there's Hades, who is the leader of a terrorist organization called KVA. I gotta say, the graphics look visually stunning on the PS4. I had the PS3 version back in the day, and it's crazy to see this game go from dumpster fire visuals to amazingly awesome visuals. I mean really, it is night and day in the visual department. But what I don't understand is why couldn't they make the PS3 version look decent? Modern Warfare 2 came out 5 years before this game, and it looks amazing on the PS3. But Sledgehammer Games just dropped the ball with this one. The graphics have this weird hazy glow thing going on, which just looks awful. It's like if somebody came up to your video camera and started rubbing Vaseline on the lens. This is actually the same issue I had with Mario Kart Wii now that I think about it. On top of that, everything has this shiny plastic look to it, and the overall aesthetic of the game is just bad. I mean, just look at it side by side with Modern Warfare 2. Again, this game came out 5 years before Advanced Warfare, and it looks way better. Even some of the colors seem off. Like for instance, what's going on with the grass in the background there? It's a lighter green than the grass at the funeral for some reason. The grass at the Atlas Corporation has this crappy yellowish green look, and it's just awful. Did you just see the lighting change on the car? What the f*** was that all about? Sometimes the colors seem muted in certain areas. For example, shouldn't these palm trees be bursting with color? It's so desaturated looking that it makes the trees look like they're dead. There's even times when the game looks too bright, like they just turned up the contrast too high. And you might be thinking, well Rack, it's probably because of your brightness settings. No, this is a balanced brightness according to the game. This is what the brightness looks like when it's turned all the way down, and it still doesn't look good. This game looks so bad that it makes Call of Duty World at War look visually stunning, and everything in that game is f***ing brown. When I first played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on the PS3, I honestly thought I was going mad. I was literally sitting here thinking to myself, does this game look worse than previous Call of Duties? And then thinking, well, no, it's the same game console and probably the same engine too. Why would they make it worse? But no, it is worse! I know this game was made for next-gen consoles at the time, and they had to find some way to make it playable on last-gen consoles, but is this seriously the best they can do? I don't think so. Okay, one more thing about the visuals and I'm moving on. What the hell is this? Are they trying to make it look like there's sunlight shining through this area? Or is this supposed to be some sort of weird pixie dust shit going on? And one last thing I'll say about the PS3 version. Back in the day, there were a few moments during gameplay where I was interrupted by loading screens. Now, for some reason, I never had this issue. I've only played the first 3 missions on the PS3, so I don't know if the issue happens later on, but it's just something I thought I should mention anyway. Okay, back to the PS4 version. So if you've ever played a Call of Duty game before, you already know how the gameplay works. You got 2 guns, a combat knife, 2 frag grenades, and 2 flashbangs. Most games in the franchise have this weapon setup, but Advanced Warfare is a little bit different since it takes place in the future. You and the other soldiers have exosuits, which gives you unique abilities such as powerful melee punches, magnetized hands for wall climbing, and boosters for double jumping and land assist. You can even earn points to purchase exosuit upgrades after finishing each mission. They range from reducing explosion damage, increasing sprint speed, increasing reload speed, and a few other stuff. I played the campaign on the easiest difficulty, so I didn't really feel the need to buy any upgrades. I'd probably say get them if you're playing it on the hardest difficulty. You got your standard frag grenades and flashbangs, but you also have threat grenades, which allows you to see enemies through cover, smart grenades, which will fly towards the enemies to blow them up, contact grenades that will instantly blow up when it hits the ground, and EMP grenades, which will take out enemy drones. These different grenades are pretty cool to use, and it brings a lot of strategy to the game if you're playing it on a harder difficulty. The weapons in this game are a mixed bag. My biggest issue with these guns is that they sound very weak and pathetic. I feel like I'm trying to kill the enemies with pellet guns and paintball guns most of the time. This has been an issue with Call of Duty for a long time, and it's something that either makes or breaks the game for me. Answer me this question: would you rather use weapons that sound like this? Or weapons that sound like this? I think the answer is pretty obvious. Even the explosions don't sound very powerful. They just sound like weak thuds. I feel like I'm throwing firecrackers at the enemies instead of actual grenades. Overall, I think the audio design is incredibly weak for the most part. The missions, on the other hand, are pretty cool. Most of them are what you expect in a Call of Duty game, but there are some badass ones that really stick out. There's a mission where you find out that Irons is up to some shady business, and you have to escape the city to let the world know before he puts the entire city on lockdown. But probably my favorite mission is the one where you and your squad get captured by Atlas and you're taken to a prison camp. They put you in a torture room for a while, but then you and your squad escape and you have to find your way out of the prison. That mission was badass. Of course, every once in a while there's these stupid vehicle sections which I never found fun, and you also get these lame quicktime events which nobody finds fun. But besides that, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, I really enjoyed the campaign this time around. It's been a long while since I played this game, and honestly, it's not as bad as I remember it being. In fact, I actually kind of liked Advanced Warfare. I didn't like this game back in the day for two reasons. For one, I was playing it on the PS3, so of course the visuals look like AIDS. And the other reason is because I was never into these futuristic themed Call of Duties, except for Infinite Warfare. I wanted more Modern Warfare style games, but they just stopped making them for a while until 2019. You know what, I'm ready to take back what I said about Sledgehammer Games only having one decent game. Of course, I mostly judge the games based on their campaign. Other people judge it based on its multiplayer. I'll be honest with you though, I'm not really a Call of Duty multiplayer person. I hate playing against real people because, well, for one, I suck. Two, because people play this game like their lives depend on it. And three, they fucking cheat. But I gave the multiplayer in this game a chance. I figured none of the sweaty players will be playing a 10-year-old game. Actually, I didn't expect there to be anybody playing this game, to be real. But surprisingly, I was wrong. I managed to find a public team deathmatch, but there were only 6 people on the server, including me. I actually had some fun in this match though. The other players didn't seem like they were taking the game too seriously, and it just felt really nice and casual. I wanted to play with them again, but they decided to leave the server, unfortunately. So I spent about 2 minutes trying to find another public server, but I eventually just said screw it and decided to play with bots like I normally do. I am so glad they added this feature in Call of Duty games. I like that if you play with bots on Team Deathmatch, you can choose the difficulty settings on both the enemies and your teammates. That's freaking awesome. Another feature in multiplayer that I really like is when you're customizing your weapon loadout, if you press the start button, it'll put you in a shooting range so you can test out your weapons before starting a match. This is a great feature that for some reason they keep taking out of later Call of Duty games. That's so stupid. Why the hell would you take it out? Just leave it in the game. Anyway, I like fighting against bots, but what I don't like is the fact that every weapon is unlocked from the start. Black Ops 1 had this really cool feature in multiplayer called combat training. Not only was it the first Call of Duty game to let you play with bots, but it was also the only bot mode that actually had a progression system. Why couldn't they bring this back? I don't care if I'm just playing with bots, I like having a progression system because I like to unlock stuff while playing the game. But the other Call of Duties don't have that. Now everything is just handed to you and you're just fighting bots for the sake of fighting bots. Some of you might be saying, well, public lobbies have a progression system. Yeah, but I don't want to play against sweats and cheaters. Plus I suck at multiplayer, that's why I like playing with bots in the first place. It's so disappointing that they'll never bring back combat training. Speaking of disappointment, let's move on to Exo Survival. Now I absolutely love the survival mode in Modern Warfare 3. You fight off endless waves of enemies with a pistol and a knife as your starting weapons. Each time you kill an enemy you earn money, which can be used for buying new weapons, attachments, armor, grenades, and so on. You'll be killing normal enemies in the beginning, but as the game goes on, you'll be fighting new enemy types like dogs, suicide bombers, juggernauts, and enemy helicopters. It is one of my all-time favorite modes to play in the Call of Duty franchise. Survival mode in Advanced Warfare, on the other hand, is dog shit. They completely changed how survival mode worked in Modern Warfare 3. First of all, instead of just starting off with a knife and pistol, they make you choose a class, which has their own weapon loadouts, armor, and score streaks. To me, this is just stupid and unnecessary. Another complaint I have with this mode is that the enemies are too difficult. They wiggle around too much every time I try to shoot them, and when I attempt to go for a melee attack, they just moonwalk away from me. Not to mention that they all surround you, so you'll be doing a lot of bobbing and weaving just to survive. I thought maybe I can find a camping spot so that the enemies will come from one direction, but there aren't any camping spots like that. In fact, there's no good camping spots at all. As if the enemies weren't hard enough, they also added in tiny ass drones that will shoot you from the sky. And of course they all have the same problem as the enemy soldiers, where you can barely hit them because they constantly dodge your attacks. I thought to myself, gee, a lock-on feature would sure be nice. I believe I set the enemy difficulty settings to easy, not please give me an aneurysm. And if all that wasn't bad enough, the game forces you to do these stupid side challenges. The challenges have you do stuff like collecting dog tags, defusing bombs, and searching bodies for intel. Why the hell would I want to do any of these? I'm already having a hard time staying alive as it is. But here's the thing. If you don't do these side challenges, the game will straight up punish you for it. Sometimes they'll take away your primary gun for a short period of time, other times they'll send in airstrikes after you or some shit. This isn't fun, this is just infuriating. Remember how I said in Modern Warfare 3 you earn cash by killing enemies? Well, not in this game. Instead of earning points with kills, you only earn 2 points after finishing each round. There's also some items you can't even buy unless you reach a certain round in the game. This is so stupid. Why can't they just have a progression system where if you rank up, you get to buy certain weapons and upgrades? And of course, this is one of those games where even if you're playing a solo match, you can't pause the game and have the entire match stop. I swear to God, it feels like Sledgehammer Games is purposely doing this stuff to piss me off. You can play this mode with up to 3 other players, so it'll make the experience a whole lot easier. But I shouldn't have to rely on other people for success while playing a video game. Exo Survival sucks. Finally, let's talk about Exo Zombies. The Zombies mode is something I also really enjoy in the Call of Duty franchise, preferably in World at War, Black Ops 1, and Infinite Warfare. For those who have never played this mode before, you fight off waves of zombies with a knife and pistol as your starting weapon. You kill the zombies to earn points, and with the points you can buy new weapons, perks, and even new areas of the map. You can even upgrade your weapons by putting them in the Pack-a-Punch machine. But this one is different. Instead of being a one and done thing like in the other games, you have to constantly put them in the Pack-a-Punch machine to upgrade your weapons over time. There's a mystery box that will give you weapons at random, some of which you can't purchase individually. It's the same thing here, but instead of a mystery box, it's a 3D printer. The zombies will get harder to kill as the game goes on, and by that I mean they become bullet sponges, which is something I'm not a fan of. Every 5 or 6 rounds you have to fight off hell dogs, which will give you max ammo once you've killed them all. The zombies can drop max ammo too, but they can also drop instant kill, the nuke, double points, and security. Security is supposed to kill the zombies that try to pass through automatic doors, but unfortunately I never captured any footage of it happening. Every once in a while, Atlas will drop off care packages that contain score streaks like flying grenade launchers and sentry guns. You can even put on an exosuit, which will give you the ability to boost jump in the air. This is actually really helpful when you're trying to dodge incoming zombies. My biggest problem with exo zombies is that the zombies themselves are too smart. Instead of mindlessly moving towards you, they will often sway side to side like they're trying to surround you. Some of them will have on exosuits and they'll try to jump attack you, which is incredibly irritating. Zombies are not supposed to be highly intelligent. They're supposed to be mindlessly dumb. How the hell would they know how to use an exosuit? There's also the infected zombies, which will sprint towards you at top speed. If one of these zombies touches you, you get infected and you have to try to get to the disinfect station before the timer runs out and you instantly die. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to the zombie mode, I like to keep it casual. When I think of zombies, I think of just killing as many zombies as possible and seeing how long you can survive, like in World at War for example. But in the newer games, they have all these different zombie types and they even have boss battles in the mix, which is just unnecessary. If they wanted to add all this stuff into the game, then that's fine, but at least give us an option to choose between classic zombie mode and new zombie mode. Why do they have to make these simple game modes so incredibly complicated? Last of all, the zombie mode didn't even come with the game. I shit you not. If you wanted to play the zombie mode, you had to purchase the Advanced Warfare Havoc Pack DLC. Are you f***ing kidding me, dude? The game already feels like it's lacking content and you're gonna pull this crap? Kiss my ass, Activision. Advanced Warfare has 4 DLC packs that contains new weapons and new maps for multiplayer and zombies. Each DLC pack costs $15, which means you'll be spending $60 on both the DLC and the game itself. There is no way in hell I'm spending $120 on a Call of Duty game. I got bills and shit. Of course, that was when the game first came out. After that, they released a gold edition for the game, which you would think is supposed to have all the DLC map packs, right? Wrong. It only gives you the first DLC pack and one bonus map for multiplayer. You guys are a bunch of greedy assholes. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Advanced Warfare. The campaign is pretty good, the multiplayer is okay, the zombie mode is bad, and the survival mode is absolutely terrible. Overall, do I think it's a good game? Not really. And despite the game being 10 years old, it's still priced at $60. You gotta be off your rocker, Activision. There are much better Call of Duty games that are way cheaper than that. If you're interested in getting Advanced Warfare, then I recommend getting it when it's on sale. Otherwise, don't even bother, it's just not worth the price. My personal favorite Call of Duties are Call of Duty 2, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 1. To me, that was when Call of Duty was at its peak, and then it drastically went downhill ever since Call of Duty Ghosts came out. Ugh.